Well, wait a minute. You're telling me almost everyone has Flipnote Studio 3D? Oh man. I gotta learn the top 10 most rare and expensive Nintendo 3DS games. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your guy Ty here, and I'm never gonna get a standard intro. I am just always gonna say something different every time, and it's gonna devolve to be more and more probably cringe to most people, but I don't care. What I do care about is Nintendo, specifically video games by Nintendo. So yeah, today we're gonna be covering I've talked about rare 3DS games on the channel. I've talked about specifically ones you should buy. I've talked about ones that are getting expensive, but I don't think I did. Made like a list. I made lists of games to buy now, and some of them are on this list that are way up. A little pat on my own back for that. But and before we jump into it, I did a community poll. Saw you guys want 3DS content. In 3DS content. People want other content, so I'm here to deliver. You want to stay with the community and stuff, there's Discord, link in the description. Also, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. We're going to be the first channel to hit 1 trillion subscribers. With that out of the way, let's get into a couple honorable mentions that aren't on this list. One main one is Metal Gear Solid 3D. This game has been seeing like a jump in price, and it might already be out. My list might already be outdated by the time this goes up, because I saw some Nintendo news site talk about it this morning before I went to work. But I think that game may eventually make this list. It has gone up a lot comparatively to what it was before the eShop closure. It's got a lot going for it. If you don't know, it's not going to be on the eShop anymore. It was an early 3DS game, so lower print, I believe. Well, I mean, some 3DS games that released later in it I had a low print, but this had a reason to have a lower print. It's not going to probably be released on anything else, unless they make the 3DS 2. Well, they actually did that. 3DS 3? It's been delisted off the eShop before the closure. So, I mean, who knows? There's like a couple, like Shantae didn't make this list. The price kind of fluctuates. I mean, it just barely didn't make this list. My list starts at $150 for the prices. And another thing I want to get out of the way, I probably have forgot, there is tons of 3DS games that I can only be so aware of. And some of the games on here is thanks to people in the community. I would not have known about some of these games being rare. Also, rare does not mean expensive. There are some games on this list that are cheaper at the moment, but I almost can guarantee that it will not stay that way. It's just because a lack of people know about it. I'm going to probably go through this pretty quickly, keep this video nice and short. This is just to educate. I'm not going to talk a lot about, what this game is. I'll probably touch on it. That's about it. So up at number 10. Number 10 here, we got Dragon Quest VIII at $150 on average for the 3DS. This game shot up in price very quickly after the announcement. Did not take long after the eShop announcement to go up into this price. Why it's up in here is probably because Dragon Quest VIII is what I've been told is a fan favorite. Not many ways to play it on a console. This is one of the better ways, I assume. Yeah, not much as I can say here. I own it. I would love to play it one day. Similarly, Dragon Quest 7 or 6, I believe 7. I don't know. There's another Dragon Quest game on the system that's also rising in price. Number 9, Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy, I believe it's called, or Azran Legacy. It's a puzzle mystery game, if I'm not mistaken. This is probably going to run you about $175. This is a good example of a game you can get sealed kind of easily. I don't know, it's something, I'm convinced no one actually played these level 5 games. This is by level 5, by the way, because they're pretty rare, but a lot of the times when they pop up, or some of them are rare, a lot of them are expensive right now. You can get a lot of these sealed cheap, and I mean, we're going to be talking about it. Not cheap, but it's really easy to find a sealed copy. There are some rare games where it's hard to find a sealed copy, and we'll also get into that later. But yeah, a lot of these level 5 games it's pretty. I mean, for two of them, there's a lot of level 5 on this list, but for at least two of the ones I have here, it's pretty easy to find a sealed one if that's your thing. Continuing on with level 5 is Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Spectres. This game has shot up in price, probably about 2 times as much as I think it was going for. This is Psychic Spectres specifically, the third of the 2 Yokai Watch games. I have no clue why they did that here. I mean, I know in Japan they also have a bunch of Yokai Watch games. They're all kind of like split up. I don't really know how it all works, but 175 is the trending price. Like when the eShop thing started, it was at like 85. Starting to kind of get a hunch that this may be. Well, here's the thing: when these games are shooting up in price, everyone comes out of the woodworks that owns these games. There's not an insane amount of listings, but there's a good amount in comparison to what it was a few months ago. A few months ago, it was hard just to find a listing, but when they popped up, it was about $85. That's what I paid for. Luckily, I did not pay this much, but I mean, there you have it. It got a low print run. Someone asked me on a video, I did a little YouTube short showing this game. They asked me why. I have no clue why. I don't know what happened with the publishing. It must have, or the printing. It must have changed after the first 2 sequels. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Maybe I'll dive into that another day. At number 7 here, we got Yokai Watch 3. Now this is kind of like where there's a price gap, and I'm sure I missed a ton of games. So let me know in the comments below if there's games I missed. If I have enough of them, maybe I'll make a better list or another list. At number 7, Yokai Watch 3, $250-ish. I think this is about what it'll run you nowadays. This is another game that's easy to get sealed, but it's expensive. Like, it's common to see sealed ones selling at this price. Actually, I used the sealed price for this because it's just more common than the opened one. Again, I'm pretty convinced nobody played this. I'm guessing people bought it while it was on sale or something like that. Maybe they got it as a gift, had no clue what it was, left it sealed. I don't know. No clue. Up at number 6, we got FIFA 14, which is very odd to me, but it is a similar case to, well, the top game on this list. And if you know anything about 3DS, you probably know what the top game on this list is. FIFA 14 got only printed in Mexico, is what I've read. I only learned about this game while I was on stream with Botox Media. Someone in the comments mentioned it, and we started talking about it. I didn't know it existed. That's part of why I made this list, because I was like, I don't know this existed. I mean, some other people don't either, so I think that's one of the most interesting games on this list, in my opinion, because most of the time FIFA games end up as like $1 or less, like a few years after their release. They lose their value pretty quickly. But yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 listings for this. Right now, I probably get around like $200-ish range, give or take a little more. There's not, like I said, there's not a ton. That's why it's on here, but it's higher than Yokai Watch 3, even though it's technically less right now. But this is a rare and expensive, and this game, from my understanding, is far more rare than Yokai Watch 3. And Yokai Watch 3 is pretty rare. Number 5, speaking of Yokai Watch, we got Yokai Watch Blasters. This game's price just goes everywhere depending on the day. A few days ago it was trending about like 300, and then a few closer days ago, I guess, trending about 500, and now it's going back to 300. I mean, I've seen this game still sell for 500, 300. It just really depends, sealed or unsealed. I think there's even a couple 600 sold. So, I mean, this game is everywhere. It's still pretty rare. For a while, it was pretty much impossible to find a listing for this game, but now you can find listings. Like I said, people come out of the woodworks. They know this. People find out, oh, this game I have is valuable, and then they start listing it. And it's like, okay, I think this is definitely probably one of the more actually rare games on this list in terms of like a big name. I know Yokai Watch as a franchise is kind of MIA at the moment. It's probably dead, but I do believe to consider it a big franchise. It did well for a while, at least. Enough to warrant like 4 games and a couple spin-offs. Okay, next on the list, at number 4 here, Alien Chaos 3D. This is another game I did not know about. There's not a lot of sold listings to go off of that are recent that I could find. It was about $150, $200. There are more listings than FIFA 14, but nothing's sold recently. So there's a couple of listings, and they all range in like huge amounts of prices. Like something like 500. I swear I saw 2,500, which has not sold. They failed to sell it like 3 times still. So I don't really know where this game will land. It is definitely a rare game. I do think once they'll eventually find a price. I'm gonna guess about $450. Which I know is a little less than some Yokai Watch blasters go for, but it definitely could go for more. I just put it a little higher because there's more of them, and I do think this is the type of thing to have some more value. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with like this Alien Chaos game and FIFA 14 where they'll actually end up. You know, eventually people figure out, more people hear about these games. I don't think people know. I'm sure there's more people out there than like 7 that have it. So I guess we'll really see what happens with these games. It could be a lot. It could be dropped down a little. But I do think it'll go up from its initial $150, $200 original solds. Number 3 here. This is where things probably get a little more predictable. We have the Guide Louvre, I think. I'm not French, but it's a guide of the museum in I hope it's in France. I'm pretty sure. I'm not worldwide. I'm pretty sure it's in France. So I'm pretty sure I know my Eiffel Tower. It's a guide of the museum that has the Mona Lisa in it. It's literally a tour guide on the 3DS. And it's worth about $300 to $500 for the English version. It's a really weird piece of software and a really interesting piece of Nintendo history that it's on a 3DS. I guess I don't know a ton about it. I kind of am curious if Nintendo is publishing this, because this is something they sold in their gift shop, and they might still sell it. I don't know. I don't know how many they made. But yeah, really weird piece of software. Number 2, we got Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition. This isn't really probably a surprise to anybody. It's about $600 to $700, I would say. Some people get for $500 opened. This is open prices. Do want to talk a little bit about the sealed ones. I mean, the prices for this in general everywhere. People sell like parts of it, like it's missing the game, but here's all the extras, and people buy that for a couple hundred, up to like $300 I've seen. Probably $400 for like the art book, the box it comes in, even the case for the game. A recent listing sold the game only for like $600, something like that, which is crazy to me because you can definitely get the whole thing for about $600, but people will pay a good amount of money just to get the parts they're missing. They'll buy like the box, and they'll buy the art book, and they'll buy the 3DS little satchel over time, because sometimes it is cheaper to just get the parts piece by piece than buy a whole one together. Obviously depends on the prices you find and all that stuff, but it varies. It really does vary. Now the sealed one, there is not a lot of sealed ones, and I know I don't shut up about how mine is sealed, and I won't shut up about how mine is sealed because I like that mine is sealed. I think it's kind of cool because there is literally not that many. There's not many of these in general. This is a big IP that had a now. I mean, it was at the time, but it's grown a lot more. Fire Emblem. There's only like 2 sold listings that I've seen. I didn't dig super hard, but I look occasionally. I've only seen 2. I took the average of the 2, and it's $1,300 at the moment, which is crazy to me. I do believe all these prices will probably rise. I don't. Even if Fate somehow gets ported, remade, this will still hold some sort of game history value to people, to the point where they will pay a good sum of money. So I suggest forking it over now if you really want this. If you're a crazy Fire Emblem fan, this is something you're going to want. Number 1, this should not surprise most people. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, welcome to knowing, because Barbie Groom and Glam Pups is the most expensive 3DS game, to my knowledge. It's been this way for a while. It's probably gonna give you a couple thousand, probably 2,500. I don't know. There's like barely any sold history. I saw like one time recently. I think that's about what someone paid, like 2,500. This game is stupid rare. I think it only got released on 3DS in Canada, and they made like 2 copies. Not actually. I don't know how many they made. Might as well be 2 copies, because that's all how many I've seen talked about. So there you go. That's the rarest 3DS game. Those are the 10 most rare and expensive 3DS games. So I hope you learned something. And if you didn't learn something, turn on the volume next time, because I feel almost nobody knows about FIFA 14. But if you were the 0.2% of the people watching this video that knew about FIFA 14, congrats. But with that all being said, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, want more of what you saw, subscribe, please. And take it easy, everyone. And until next time, gotta buy FIFA 14, I guess.